Hello, it's John Heaton, and today I thought I'd cover some famous and not so famous album cover locations, all taken from my collection, some of which you can visit to this day, some of which are in private grounds, some of which I can't pin down exactly where they were taken other than the city it was taken in. There's a few, like All Things Must Pass and John Lennon Plastic-Ono Band, which were taken in the privacy of their own grounds, and I wouldn't like to say exactly where that was, so difficult to pin that down. But we'll start off with a couple of ones which you can pin down, or one of which is available to the public, which is Abbey Road, the obvious one, in St John's Wood, North W8, London North W8, and to this day you can go to the exact zebra crossing, and people do that every day and hold up the traffic and annoy the motorists. Then we've got the Hey Jude album, where the pictures are taken from in Tittenhurst Park, which was John's home at the time, August 22nd, 1969, the last Beatles photo session. And if you buy the book, The Beatles London, it tells you exactly where these pictures were taken within those grounds, although those grounds have been changed and probably are not recognisable under new ownership, because Ringo bought it from John and then someone bought it from Ringo, so probably can't recreate those shots exactly, unfortunately, anymore. Then we've got Houses of the Holy, Led Zeppelin. It's an interesting one because these pictures were taken Giant's Causeway, which is near Belfast in Northern Ireland, and I went there in 1991 on the way to a friend's wedding, and it is a very impressive landmark, and I'm not surprised Hypnosis and Led Zeppelin together chose this as a location shoot for the cover, because it's very evocative. And whilst I was in Northern Ireland, I also went to Ardglass, which is in County Down, which was my friend Sean's hometown, or where he grew up part of the time, and Van Morrison mentions that in a song about stop at Ardglass and buy some potted herring and in case we get famished before dinner time. So that was another interesting bit of information. Physical graffiti, Led Zeppelin. We were in New York City 4 years ago, and either we didn't realise that this cover was taken there, or we didn't put two and two together, but we failed to visit it. But we were very much in the vicinity of this building, because the address is 96 to 98 East 8th Street, St Mark's Place in Manhattan, so downtown, kind of near the Village area. And so kicking ourselves if we didn't visit that. This is Eric Clapton, 461 Ocean Boulevard, and actually this was the house he lived in, that exact address, when he was making this album. No doubt by the time the album came out he probably was not around, because otherwise it would have been too easy for the fans to just turn up and harass him. But that's kind of an interesting one. That address is in Miami, Florida. Animals, Pink Floyd, the famous Odyssey power station on the front cover there, which some say looks a bit like an upside down pig. We've got the pig flying here. Iconic location, still stands to this day, or it seems to be under scaffolding most of the time in recent times. But that you can still see that's in southwest London. Just get off the train at Clapham Junction and walk, or you can get a train even closer, I think. Momentary Lapse of Reason, not my favourite album, but I thought I'd just mention it because of the beds on the beach, filmed at Saunton Sands in Devon. Wish You Were Here is filmed, the front cover there is filmed at the Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank, California, which is kind of interesting. It's another Hypnosis album cover, as a lot of these tend to be. Interesting because Pink Floyd were on the EMI label, so not sure what they were doing shooting it at Warner Brothers, but anyway. Next one we've got to show you is somewhere in England. Can you guess where this was taken? The Tate Gallery, London. Mark Boyle, Holland Park Avenue Study. There's George walking away for it at the end, and looked it up several times to see whether that piece was being displayed in the Tate Gallery. It hasn't been on public display for years, so you won't be able to go to the Tate Gallery and see it, unfortunately. But that was an interesting one. Freewheeling Bob Dylan, 1963. That cover of him and his girlfriend is taken at the corner of Jones Street and West 4th Street in the West Village, Manhattan. Just show it to you again. Iconic cover there. Iconic. London Town wings. I think this picture was taken on a boat, and it must have been just on the other side of London Bridge heading towards Tower Bridge, because London Bridge is the closest one upriver from Tower Bridge. So that's a good one. Aber Arrival. Oh, have I forgot to bring it in, Aber Arrival. I was going to show you the helicopter shot, which was actually taken in the Barkarby airfield in Stockholm, not any giant arrival in England to conquer the English market or anything like that, as I thought it was. Ziggy Stardust, David Bowie, just off Regent Street, 23 Heddon Street. You can still visit it to this day, but it's not bearing much resemblance to how it did then, although the doorway is still there, apparently. I don't think I've actually done that myself. My son's visited it. Pet Sounds. This is them taking a trip to San Diego Zoo on the front. Not the greatest cover in the world, but interesting to know where it was taken. Billy Joel, 52nd Street, Manhattan. And you can look it up online and they'll tell you exactly where that shot was taken, and that corner there is still existing, but it's almost unrecognisable. It's not a rundown area at all now. It's got a kind of posh building in its place, just about recognisable. What's the Story? Morning Glory from Oasis is taken in Berwick Street, London, which is the home to Reckless Records and Sugar Ray, the two of the best vinyl shops in London, on the same street. So if you're in London, that's probably the street to go to for vinyl. That was 1995. Street Legal, Bob Dylan, 1978. Cover taken at 2501 Main Street, Santa Monica, the former location of Rundown Studios, the staircase there, where the album was recorded. So that's where that one was filmed. Who's Next? Filmed at Easington Colliery, County Durham. I don't think that monolith is still standing. It's a kind of homage to 2001 Space Odyssey I was reading, which had come out 3 years before. But you can still visit the beach area, but I just don't think the stone thing is there anymore. Here's the Aber Arrival I was telling you about earlier, with the taken actually in Stockholm, which this picture looking like they've landed as 4 aliens to conquer Earth. But as I say, just taken in Stockholm, so not quite as I imagined. And then what else have we got to show you? Sentimental Journey from Ringo. So this is the pub, the Empress Pub, at the end of the street where Ringo used to live, and you can still visit that to this day in Liverpool. I went past it on a bus tour, but next time I go to Liverpool, I'm definitely going to have a drink in there. And then Double Fantasy, I've got this framed copy. This is the back cover, taken at the Dakota Building, New York City, 1 West 72nd Street, Central Park West, the corner of. And that's where John and Yoko lived from 1973 to 1980, apart from John's 15-month lost weekend when he was in LA for most of the time. So that was that. And then lastly, it's not a location cover as such, but I wanted to give homage to Supertramp's Breakfast in America, because these plates and cups in the background is superb evocation of the Manhattan skyline with the World Trade Center there, as you can see. Just wanted to give that a shout out because I really always loved that design. So that was a few album covers, famous, not so famous. locations, some of which you can visit to this day. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time.